Okay, good evening, Sarah. Good morning for you, and good evening for me. We're really glad to have this opportunity to work together again. We had a great time in 2018 with you being there with the kids. Because of the situation, we have to do the next best thing. So we
Yeah.
go to these courses, and hopefully in a year or two, you'll be back again in India in the summer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Sarah, just tell us a bit about yourself and your work, both with college-going kids as well as school-going kids.
Sure. So my normal job is I'm an assistant professor and department chair at Emory and Henry College in Virginia in the United States. I'm just finishing up my 5th year as an assistant professor. I've taught a variety of classes at Emory and Henry. I teach classes on gender and politics. I teach international relations. I teach statistics. I teach classes on conflict. So I teach a variety of different classes at the college
level.
Quite a
lot of different.
Yeah. No, I teach a variety. I work at a small college, and so we wear a lot of hats. But in addition to teaching at the college level, I've also taught for Duke University's Talent Identification Program and related programs since 2012. So every summer for the last, long time at this point, I've taught middle school and high school students in the United States, in India, and in China. And it is, I think, my favorite thing about the summer, getting to work with younger students. It forces me to be more creative than I often can be in a college environment. And so I'm really looking forward to working for GenWise this summer and teaching 2 courses on international relations, politics, but also for those of you who are interested in other disciplines, there's going to be a lot of marketing, there's going to be some econ, there's going to be some public health. So I really enjoy teaching these kinds of courses because I think students get a really interdisciplinary experience, in this kind of environment with younger students who, are really curious and excited to be learning new things.
Great. So tell us a little bit about both these courses you'll be running this summer.
Yeah, so the first one is International Relations and Decision Making in Challenging Times. And I know that we are in a just deeply challenging time throughout the world right now. And a lot of the conversations that I've had with my college students have been trying to apply some of these concepts that we know about in politics to the current crisis that we're living in. And so I'm really looking forward to teaching a class sort of with the express purpose of thinking through challenges. And so the course is going to be about international relations, problem solving, decision making, and then we're going to try to use those concepts to try to tackle a problem that students are going to identify. Students can certainly do something on COVID-19, but there's all sorts of problems and challenges in the world today, right? So you could talk about long-time economic challenges. You could talk about other public health challenges. You could talk about issues related to education, right? So there's all sorts of problems that we face. And so the end product for this class is going to be a marketing campaign. So I'm really excited to see what students are coming up with. It's going to require some artistic skill and some creativity. So thinking through how an entity creates a marketing campaign requires all sorts of critical thinking skills and all sorts of leadership skills and public relations skills that are useful no matter what students end up and do. The other course I'm also really excited about is The Tale of Two Democracies, and it is about the United States and India. Whenever I've taught abroad, I always get all sorts of questions from students about how the US system works, oftentimes because you're trying to sort of compare it to the system that you're most comfortable with. And I think that the US and India make really great comparisons as 2 democratic states that face some similar challenges, but also some very different ones. And so the end result for that is going to be a briefing, so a policy briefing on what should happen, or if you were to advise particular leaders in those governments, how would you do that? So I'm really excited about both of those courses because the content, I think, is going to be really interdisciplinary and really dynamic. And so I think students, who are interested in a variety of things will be able to find something that they're interested in those courses.
This is so fascinating. I'm sure many of the grown-ups, the parents would love to take these courses. One question, these are very complex topics. There are no answers really, and there's a lot of academic aspects to such themes and topics. So how do you engage with very young school children who don't have the background? So how does it work? So what kind of things do they do, and how do they engage with such things?
Yeah, so I think that that's, again, one of the most fun things about teaching this kind of class is that I think younger students, especially ones who have no exposure to these kinds of topics, I think are oftentimes the best learners because they come to these topics without as many preconceived notions as I think adults do. And so we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that I talk about with my college students. And in my experience, middle school students, high school students can sometimes absorb it faster, right? Because I think your brain is just maybe a little bit more of a sponge. And so we're going to do a lot of interactive sort of discussions. We're also going to do some reading of some challenging things. And I think that's really useful for young students to become accustomed to reading something that might be a little bit above your head, but that you can still work to grasp. We're also going to be doing, and this format is relatively new to me, the online format. So we're going to be trying to figure out some ways to do like some interactive presentations that aren't just talking. So working on like creating a presentation that is a highly visual one. And so we're going to be working on trying to do some creative stuff via Zoom. The younger students, I think, are so fun because they also think of things that I haven't thought of either. And so I'm really excited to work with a group of students on a new platform.
Yeah, so we do tend to underestimate the kind of insights kids can have. I think we've seen that in courses across, not just your course. So we have certain goals, right, when we are running this course, and you talked about research and reading and so on. But I'm curious, what have children told you after having spent a week or 2 or 3 with you in different settings? What have children typically said that they took away or
I think the most common theme is that it helps people understand the world a little bit better. And when you think about the news or trying to understand what's happening in in politics in the world, it can seem so foreign or so dense. And I think that the common theme is that students have a firmer grasp and are able to like sift through what's happening in the world more effectively.
Okay, that sounds great. So they sort of have an aeroplane view of things, and as they actually go through formal education, perhaps they can, have a better framework to fit things in together.
Right.
And, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So last question. So there are some children who are naturally inclined to the humanities or politics and themes like this, whereas some children may be very focused on whatever their subject is, a STEM subject, something which is not related to this. But they are very young, of course. So do you think there is value for the other children who don't jump up at, international relations or humanities?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yes, absolutely. I think that if you want to be a doctor, you need to understand how infrastructure works, right, within one's country. If you want to be an engineer, you might be building the infrastructure that your country is using. And so to add a layer of understanding how politics works, or understanding how foreign direct investment works, or understanding how, you know, how the US and India get along or don't get along is crucial for, I think, any field. So I'm looking forward to having students who are interested in all sorts of things sitting in on this class.
Oh, thank you. This has been great, and we look forward to your courses coming up.
I'm excited about it.